Welcome back to ValleyBoysTCG, CK here, and we're going to go over some gameplay footage of a blue deck and a red deck that we put together. Now, the blue deck is basically Blue Evo, but kind of on a budget. We didn't get the GhidORAH pieces that we wanted. We didn't pull any SRs in 3 boxes, unfortunately. Pull rates in this set is pretty crazy. But we did upgrade the blue deck, so we're going with that. And the red deck we're playing, I'm calling it Red Dorah. It's kind of a red control, focusing again on the same thing that blue is kind of doing. It's basically trying to do the counter victory, and it's kind of very spammy. It's very interesting. We're focusing on getting out the big Orah pieces, as we call it, Red Dorah, being GhidORAH and HidORAH. So here we see the crabbies come down. We get our little lobster guys out just to get a few pieces out. Now, we play a lot of little spam pieces because the more we have on board, it gets HidORAH online quicker. So that's kind of the early game plan. Get a lot of little pieces. And you see we're going in with blue. We get classic Mothras going forward. And we're going to kind of push forward because we see the reds setting up a lot. Now, gameplay like this I know is not the most accurate because we're playing solitaire against ourselves, but we're going to try to show off what both decks are capable of. Now, we do have this, our level 1 Godzilla is the 2000 Godzilla, which is when invading, it destroys one of our opponents rank 4 or lower. So it's actually a very menacing one to have against the red deck right now, because 54 Godzilla is a lot of bottom end pieces. So we're going to go ahead, and this is our first misplay. We are learning the game still, so we do make a pretty big misplay here, I would say, in that we play Destroy All Monsters so that we could advance and do some things, and while advancing we didn't destroy the Mothra egg, which is why we played it in the first place. I don't know what happened there. I think I got tripped up because I was reading over the effects of end of turn. I destroy something, or I check the top card. If it's a monster, I gain a rage. But we got focused on that we forgot to destroy, and so now blue has a Mothra on board that shouldn't be on board, and then we just hard play another Mothra there. So blue got a free draw and essentially a free counter this turn because that first Mothra on the bottom row shouldn't be there anymore. We go ahead and invade with blue, and that'll destroy the other red piece, and then we'll rage up one more to get, now we're blue side has a threat of 10,000 and a counter of 10,000, and that will evolve our Godzilla. For their level 2 Godzilla, we're playing the Fest Godzilla here. You'll see now our threat counter is up to 13, but our counter is down to 0. So we reset the board on the red side. We are in the 5th zone, and you see we got our big spider out and another Abira out, and that'll help set up the HidORAH. So like I said, the HidORAH was meant to kind of play quicker with all the little spammy pieces. Depending on how you draw, you can get him out turn 1 even. So we're going to go ahead and invade, and then we use the Heat Ray Charge here to draw 2. A Heat Ray Charge is one that I think should be really good in this set, getting the extra draw power. The problem is it is a 2 invasion cost. So because it has the 2 invade, we know we're only limited to 10 per deck, but we're able to set up our counter to 12, which is enough to reset Godzilla to on the blue side, and now they're at Godzilla 89 for their stage 2. It will destroy one of our monsters as it comes out, and we target the area 8 because you want to keep area 8 as clear as possible to try to get that invasion victory. And then the end of turn effect for our Fest Godzilla on the red will push blue up a spot. Now, as much as that seems counterintuitive to push your opponent forward on the red side, it is part of the battle strategy because we want to push them up to zone 8 or area 8 so that way we can get our King GhidORAHs online. And now we're just kind of playing out some Destroyers and getting a pretty big counter. Since red is in zone 7, let's go ahead and knock them down to 4. We're going to take a step forward, and we are at, on blue side, you'll see threat 15 and counter 20. So that will again counter red. Red is having a bit of a difficult time here, trying to keep up. As much as red was supposed to be our counter deck, blue just does it a little better because that evolve and their way to evolve, to get the evolution and just get a bigger monster out quicker, a bigger battle card quicker, is just really, really good. But I'm not giving up on red yet. I know red probably should be more of a destructive invasion style deck, whereas blue is probably the more defensive counter style. But we're gonna make it try to interesting. So we're gonna push up here 54. We play out the Kamakuras. Very interesting. So we used a 2-step to try to get back to zone 6 so we could use the Awakening to get 2 more ants out. We're playing a lot of little bugs here on the bottom end. We rage up to get our threat level of 28, and we have our counter only at 7. The reason we're not going heavy on the counter here is our main focus is going to be getting our opponent, or baiting our opponent to get to zone 8, as they are going to want to try to go for the victory here, or try to not go for victory so much, but threaten lethal, if you will, threaten the invasion victory. We also push to zone 6 because it'll leave us in 7, and it'll leave us our opponent's turn effect on Godzilla 74 here. Our level 3 red says opponent's turn. When they enter the counter phase, at the start of our opponent's counter phase, we destroy one of our opponent's battle cards that's in the same zone or the same column. So we wanted to line up to be able to shoot that Mothra out of there. But we see a lot of Destroyers coming out, and this is Destroyer and Mothra on the blue is the main focus. Red is a little bit more a mixed bag, but really King GhidORAH is what we're trying to get to. So start of the counter step, they are unfortunately still 30,000. They are pretty big, so we're going to get countered again, and it feels like blue is really bullying red here. Red, we're already at our stage 4 monster, or our level 4 monster, so we are being threatened with the counter. Blue is only at a 2, so blue is going to threaten the invasion or the counter victory at this point. They are definitely in the lead on both points. Red is kind of struggling to keep up. Now, red is a deck that I was trying to put something together with. Like I said, I only opened 3 boxes, and I said, what can I put together with just the boxes? So deck is completely built on just boxes. And you see we're going to go ahead and rage here because we don't want to get the counter. We don't want to lose to the counter, so we're putting our threat level up to 42. And then we play the Oxygen Destroyer here to go ahead and reset them back and slow down their roll. And now I'm trying to do the math here. We go ahead and go into the counter step. There's nothing to counter. Oxygen Destroyer, also another good one to just kind of stave off the loss, because once you get past the first stage, it should be easy to be able to play that strategy card almost any turn to kind of slow down if they're threatening the invasion. Just set them back a turn. You don't have to get the invasion victory. Sometimes you just need to stall out, and that's kind of what we're doing here in red now. We're just trying to stall them out a little bit till we get all our pieces lined up to what we need. Now there's still the... So you see them, we did play a monster on the blue side. With that enter, we are able to play out the Mothra from trash, which was a kind of a nice thing. We tossed the Mothra to invade, and then we played the monster to play that Mothra back out. Essentially, kind of getting a free step in, because it wasn't a wasted card. We tossed it, and then we brought it back in and get the free rage off of it. So blue's sitting pretty right now. Everything's moving well. Threat 18, counter 14. Red, we are sitting at the big threat, obviously, because 37 threat's pretty big. Counter's only 3, so we're a little small as for counter. So going for the counter victory from red seems kind of out of reach. So we're just going to kind of push it here and see what we can get out of blue. Obviously, we need to make sure that we don't get countered. But blue is going to do its thing. Blue can counter very well early, but I feel it's a little tricky to get big enough to really close out games unless you have enough, like, Destroy. I think Destroy is really needed in this deck. And unfortunately, like I said, I didn't pull any of the SR ones from the booster packs, but I did pull. I am using the starter deck destroyers, which, you know, they're each interesting in their own way. And playing out the Burning Godzilla to clear board again, resetting red. It doesn't look good for red. I know. I said I built this as like a spammy battle spam and counter focused, and red is just not delivering right now. Blue was putting everything together. The Mothra from the booster pack is actually really good. That 7 cost Mothra, because it really boosts up all the other lower level ones. And so here we are now threatening invasion, and red really has to deliver. But this is where the bait comes into play. So we get a Kamunga on zone 8 because it gets the boost, and we have a hand full of GhidORAHs. Immediately went from 0 to counter in one turn. This is a huge turning point for red right now. And that's what makes this game really interesting, because at any point it can just swing in random ways. You could be just right at the precipice for victory and then just get knocked completely back. So this is a big turning point for red. We're getting blue reset. Now, the 92 Godzilla 3 is a pretty big thing for blue, because it plays out some evolution, and it plays them on that counter step, which means they still are going to get their main phase ability to take advantage of evolution at the start of their main phase. So they don't lose out on that unless you have already used your evolution cards in your deck. So blue's looking to make sure if we can still evolve. I think we burned through them early. Oh yeah, we needed to make sure we move forward red at the end of turn and reset the blue side. Now blue can go ahead and start the main phase effects to try to do things, but we don't have anything we can do, so we aren't able to take advantage of evolution because the next forms are no longer in our deck. We've kind of burned through them a little too fast. So we go ahead and lower red's invasion, and I don't think we can get big enough. Red was smart to... I mean, red still... We played the rage, but it's gone. Red's still 3,700... Or 37,000, I should say. Sorry, 37,000 threat on red side. And blue is just going to kind of play it slow here. I think the focus right now in blue, because we've burned through so many of our top-end battle cards, we're going to have to stall and try to get there. So red is going to go all in here. You see red putting their threat level up to 5,200. And then this is where we are trying, or we could threaten to just go in and end it if we can clear their board. Oh no, we just moved up, and that way end of turn we ended up in zone 8. So now red is, we used all the rage to survive the turn. We used our rage cards to survive the turn, getting our threat to 52 so that we know that blue can't counter us. Blue's first step is play the strategy, use the raid to clear off one of those GhidORAHs before they move forward. We did see another Destroyer come out, so now blue is getting bigger, but probably not big enough. We see another Super X come down to remove one of our rages there. Probably not the best spot to play Super X, because it's going to get trampled on. So blue is only able to get up to about 30 here. Yeah. So blue is a threat of 40, so it's going to be harder to counter, and their counter powder is only at 30,000, whereas red is still sitting at a 47 threat. So red is still safe from the counter loss. And now blue moves forward, sitting in 7. And we basically have to hope that red can't get the invasion victory here, because we weren't able to hold them off. So this is where it's that turning point where you really, if they're at the level 4, they're really hard to counter them. But sometimes you really need to. Something like Oxygen would be great here. So we're showing off that we did have the red strategy card that would destroy all battle cards on the field. But we're going to flex the red victory con here. So we're going to play Gravity Beam. Now, Gravity Beam triggers King GhidORAH's effect, and we have 2 GhidORAH's effect. bumping our counter numbers to 69,000. 69,000, and blue is already in their stage 4, so they are unable. And then we realize if we had swapped the things here, we're actually maxing out at 74,000 counter power, ensuring the counter victory. A great comeback for red. Here's a quick look at those decks if you want to see. This is the blue evolution with what we have, and this is the red Orah deck, if you will. Hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay. Hope you guys come back for the next one.